This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Welcome back. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is Tony Jones of The Athletic. How you doing, T? You doing all right?
My guy, man. How you doing? Been a
I'm
long
doing
time.
great, man. Yeah, man. It's been a while. And obviously, here in South Florida, there's some rumblings going on as Riley is going whale hunting. And although it's drying up a little bit out there, the options for Pat Riley right now. Let's get into what's going on with you guys there. Gobert goes. The Royce O'Neal trade goes. What is happening, first of all, before we ask about the trade in Utah? Are they on a rebuild or on a retooling?
Well, it's a retool for the Jazz. Obviously, two trades within 48 hours involving two starters, one involving one of their two best players. But the Jazz are just trying to retool on the fly. Danny Ainge realized that the core that topped out in the first round against Dallas, he felt like that core kind of reached its end, and he's going about changing the core, trying to do it on the fly, and that's what you have. So, we thought, I started reporting that Gobert, it was a possibility that Gobert could go long time ago, probably around 6 weeks ago. It finally came to fruition yesterday.
So the Donovan Mitchell situation, and listen, I'm almost thinking this is going to be impossible anyways because Ainge and Riley hate each other. So I don't even know how Ainge would want to help Riley anyway. That part to me doesn't make any sense as it is. But I haven't heard Donovan Mitchell say he wants to leave. I haven't heard that they're trying to trade him. There's been no inclination. That's just crap that we're making up down here. So you're closer to the situation than any of us ever will be. Is Donovan Mitchell there for the long run? Are they keeping Donovan Mitchell, or is there a chance that he still could be moved?
Well, it depends on what you define as a long run. Do I think that if you had to put a percentage on whether he's in a Jazz uniform this year and through this year up until this time next summer, I'd put that around 90% or better. The Jazz don't have any intentions of trading Mitchell. Mitchell hasn't asked out. The Jazz are trying to, simply put, the Jazz are trying to rebuild their roster around Mitchell. So I know that there's been, a lot of speculation nationally about what Utah's intention with Mitchell is, or what Mitchell's intentions are with Utah. None of my sources, and I have numerous sources, none of them have indicated that the Jazz are amenable to trading Mitchell at this point. Every last person that I've talked to has said that we're not trading Mitchell. We don't have any intention of trading Mitchell. So, it could be all smoke and bluster, but I just don't see it at this point.
So then here's what I ask you, because they've got a haul of picks. They've got 3 of them that are unprotected in the whole Gobert move. And this is the part that we're not talking about. So are the Jazz whale hunting? Because they've got ammunition. They can do things. Everybody keeps talking about the Jazz trying to get rid of people. And sure, they got rid of Gobert, but come on, man. We all know that the Mitchell Gobert thing wasn't like a great relationship as it is. And in today's NBA, you got to score more, man. And Gobert is a fantastic defender, but I get it. You want to get more points. So talk to me. Maybe people are misreading the Jazz. Maybe the Jazz are trying to reload so they can go out and try to go get another star to put next to Mitchell. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that there's some validity to that. I don't know if that comes this summer. I know that there's been some stuff out there that the Jazz are possibly interested in DeAndre Ayton. And that that could possibly come to fruition in any possible Kevin Durant trade that lands Durant in Phoenix. But you know, I think right now, and I could tell you this specifically, I've been told that going forward, the Jazz are trying to supplement their roster with wings, and they are looking for a big. Because right now they're the only big on their team. Right, the only two bigs on their team right now are Walker Kessler, who they just acquired in the trade from Minnesota, and Udoka Azubuike, and an undrafted free agent in Kofi Coburn, who's the All-American out of Illinois. But they don't have a starting level big that they feel that's on the roster right now. So, you know, do I think I did specifically ask about Ayton yesterday. I was told that there's nothing imminent on that front. But, you know, I will say this. When I started hearing rumblings about Minnesota pushing to the forefront, I asked about Minnesota this week, and I was also told that there's nothing imminent on that. So, you know, things can heat up quickly in the trade world. I would not be shocked if the Jazz made a play at Ayton. But you know, we'll have to just sit back and see what happens a little bit.
The way I see those guys, they can make a move for Harrison Barnes. They can make a move for Miles Turner. They can make a move. I don't know if Atlanta really is going to keep John Collins, but that would be another one that kind of fits what they need. I mean, because you kind of look what he did with the Celtics. You kind of got to feel that he's going to try to do the same kind of thing there in Utah, right? He's going to try to find that other guy to pair with Mitchell.
That's why the picks package with Rudy Gobert is so significant. It gives you moves on the chessboard that you can make. You can keep those picks. For me,
and they have their own, right? And they have their own too, right?
Well, that was the thing. They didn't have their own, so they still don't have a pick in 2024, but they do have 3 first-round picks in 2023.
Okay.
And the most valuable of the picks for the Jazz from Minnesota are the 2027 pick, which is unprotected when Rudy Gobert is not going to be on the books, and 2029, which is top 5 protected, which Rudy Gobert is going to be on the books. I think anything short of that, you know, especially among the 3 picks next year, are kind of in play as the Jazz kind of figure out what they want to do. I know that Atlanta is still amenable to moving John Collins. You know, obviously we know that Miles Turner is probably available. Obviously we know that DeAndre Ayton is probably available. So there's stuff that the Jazz can do. You know, Tobias Harris in Philly he's probably available. I'm not sure whether the Jazz want to take on somebody who has a $37 million salary coming up next year. But I know that Harris is available as well. So, you know, the Jazz were going to be a trade team, but right now they have like 8 guards on their roster and like 5 shooting guards on their roster. So, you know, they're going to have to figure something out there. You know, so it's going to be really interesting in the next few weeks to see what the Jazz do.
Tony Jones joining us from The Athletic, well connected in the league. And Tony, what's your gut tell you? Because I know now they're throwing Toronto in the mix, and obviously they have the ammunition, but I don't know if Durant wants to go to Toronto. And Miami, as much as I would love to see him here with our Heat, I just feel like the Suns and the Raptors have more ammunition. So what's your gut tell you? Where does Durant end up? And the caveat to all of this, is there a way that they can come up with a 3-team trade where they move? Because this is the only way I think Miami could end up with Durant, that they take the Ben Simmons contract off their hands. But you have to move Bam. Now, NBA rules, can you move Bam back to Brooklyn? Can you trade the 2 players? Or do you need a 3rd team to move Bam to a 3rd team so you can take the Simmons contract? Walk us through that rule.
So the rule is you can't have 2 designated rookie max deals on the same team. But the rule, so here's the rule with Bam. Bam, the rule is you have to be. The rule is it would have to be a trade. So Donovan Mitchell can't go to the Brooklyn Nets if Ben Simmons is on the team, because Ben Simmons has already been traded and Donovan Mitchell would have already been traded. But Donovan Mitchell could come to the Miami Heat because Bam Adebayo has not been traded. He was drafted. So that's the wrinkle in that rule. So Ben Simmons and Bam,
you can't trade Bam straight up for Simmons.
You
That part of the trade.
So what happens is you can trade Ben Simmons to Miami. You can't trade Bam to Brooklyn.
Okay, you got to trade him to the
Right.
Jazz. Okay.
So Ben Simmons could come to Miami, but Bam could not go to Brooklyn with Ben Simmons on the roster because Bam was drafted.
All right.
So, if you're the Heat, you probably do need a third team. And I do agree with you. You probably have to take the Ben Simmons trade because he has negative value right now. Really negative value.
And by the way, I talked about this like 7 or 8 months ago, Tony. It's San Antonio, Golden State, Miami. There's only a couple places that might save that kid. Miami is actually one of the places that could save that kid because they're great at player development. You know what I mean? Ben Simmons, I don't know if he'll succeed in most places. It has to be a place that knows how to develop talent. You know what I'm saying? And believe it or not, as much as I'm not really a Ben Simmons guy, I got to give this organization all the credit in the world. They know how to develop players, man. They know how to reach them sometimes. Hell, they got the most out of Whiteside. I mean,
I think Ben's got to save himself at this point, though, and he's got to want to save himself. And I don't know that there's a desire for him. He's got to prove that he wants to play basketball, and and I think that's the big thing with Ben Simmons. That everybody in the league is kind of questioning with him. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. My thing with Kevin Durant is I don't know why Denver's not offering Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and like 3 or 4 first-round picks to try to pair Durant with Jokic.
Injuries, maybe. I don't know. It's a great question.
If I were Denver, I would offer that trade all day.
Yeah. For sure.
But
sure. Now the question is, but the question is, Tony, how much is Durant controlling where he wants to go? Does he want to go to even Denver? Does he want to go to Toronto? Because all we hear from reports are Suns and Miami. So are those other teams even in play? What have you heard from the Durant camp?
Well, I mean, I've heard what I've seen, which is that Durant probably wants to go to Phoenix, but you never know with some of this stuff. And the important thing to keep in mind about Durant is that he's got 4 years left on his contract, which means, if I'm the Nets, I'm not obligated to send him where he wants to go. I'm more obligated to send him where I can get the best package. It's the same thing with Donovan Mitchell. One of the things, he's got 3 years left on his contract. If he truly asked out, we're talking about Danny Ainge here. Danny Ainge will send him, where he's going to get the most value from. He's not going to necessarily send him where he wants to go. So he wouldn't necessarily send him where he wants to go. So, the shorter the contract, the more leverage I believe the player has. The longer the contract, the more leverage I believe the team has. And, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with Durant.
All right, we'll wrap it up with this. What's your gut tell you? Where does Durant end up? Since it looks like Mitchell's going to stay in Utah, where does Durant end up? What do you think?
I probably think that he ends up in Phoenix or Toronto.
Okay.
Toronto. If Masai goes to Brooklyn and says, "Hey, you take Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent, Precious Achua, and like 3 or 4 first round picks, you know, it's hard. It would be hard for me if I'm Brooklyn to turn down getting Scotty Barnes, because I think he's going to be an All NBA player like 5 to 7 times.
Yeah. I like what I saw from Scotty Barnes. If you're a basketball fan, you need to follow my man Tony on Twitter at T Jones on the NBA, covering the Jazz and the NBA for The Athletic. As it says on his byline, Akron born, Brooklyn and Philly raised. By the way, that I feel bad for your Brooklyn folks. Wow, man. That came and
Yeah.
went, dude. It was like all of a sudden we were going to be a monster, and all of a sudden we're back to being midgets. I mean, it just, oh God, I feel bad for those fans. That's a tease, bro.
I'm a Knicks fan. I'm in a Knicks family, so we don't have any sympathy.
No, yeah, you have your own problems.
We got our own issues right now.
All right, T, as always, I appreciate you taking some time on a Saturday, man. Have a great 4th of July weekend. Thank you, my friend.
No problem. Thanks, my guy.
You got it. There you go. Tony Jones getting it done, baby. That's what it's all about. Thank you, T. Appreciate you. There you go. All right. Good stuff as always.